And once I met Bill and his sons, I was fascinated by their dealership. And what I'm going to show you today is what initially caught my interest. But more importantly than that was being a car guy, let's face it, what we do is we capitalize on what's important to people, right? When you're selling a car, what do you focus on? What's important to that customer? So I saw an opportunity to build what I envisioned as being the ultimate e-business department, made up of a business development center. As Jerry and Brian and Ken, a couple of people in the room know, it's hard to say sometimes certain things without sounding like you're bragging, but I've set up a couple of BDCs, to put it mildly. These guys know it. Jerry, fair to say? Talking about it in the hundreds. And internet sales department. So but the thing that always bothered me was the compromises that were made along the way. It seemed like every time there was compromises that would dilute the effectiveness of what I was trying to build, because every dealer had constraints. Might be space, might be small market, whatever. These guys are in a market of 4 million people that is one of the few major metro markets that has not been over-dealered. So if you look at the list of the top 40 Chevrolet stores in America, 10 on that list are in Phoenix. There's 13 Chevy stores in Phoenix Metro, what we call the LMG, the local marketing group for Chevrolet. 10 of them are on that top 40 list every month. So and Chevrolet has the #1 market share in that market for the brand. So I'm looking at all these factors, and besides the fact that quite honestly, they offered me double what I was making at Reynolds, and so it's kind of, my wife's going, you mean you won't have to travel anymore? You work at a dealership, you're going to make twice as much money, and they're going to treat you, like a human being? And I said, yeah, and she goes, you're not thinking about turning it down? And of course, I accepted it, so I came on board. I wanted to put some pictures on here because I wanted to draw your attention. Every single person in these pictures I brought into the organization, except that management shot up there. What's really interesting is this was taken in September of '05. All those managers in that upper right photo, they're all still there today. Every single one of them. They haven't lost one of those people. And that's basically the sales management team. Gives you an idea of the stability. Down here I've got, this was a group of internet sales specialists. Since I started this guy right here, we promoted him into a management role from a sales role, and then he's built his own team, and that's become a whole separate profit center in itself. These two guys right here on the moped and the electric scooter, they're not gay, not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're both married with children, very hetero. Joel Mattson is my BDC manager. Joel Mattson was there when I got there, but he's like the Doogie Howser of the car business. When I got there, he was 21 years old. He'd been working there since he was 19. And the kid is unbelievable. He's unbelievable, his mind, the way he works. He now supervises a BDC with 27 people working for him. The guy in the back of the moped is George Salmon. He was a closer out on the floor. And when I got to know the people out on the floor, I tapped on George's shoulder one day and I said, George, you need to get into the internet. He looked at me and goes, what? I go, you need to get involved with the internet. He goes, why? I go, because that's the way the business is going in the future. He knew nothing about the internet, did not know how to do email, open up a computer, but we promoted him to the internet sales manager of the new car team, and he's done a phenomenal job. Like I said, we sold over 4,000 cars last year. Down here, this is Scott Daly. I only need one picture because there's two identical clones. They're literally identical twins, him and his brother. I tapped into them, saw them on the floor, brought them back to the business department, and we created what we called the e-finance team. And we'll get into that as well. This young lady right here is Kelly Slaughter. Kelly is one of 2 CRM administrators. They're basically my assistants. And which kind of goes to how great it is working for the Gruwells. If you can build a financial model around something, they let you do it. Basically, I found that we were spending about $8,000 a month in outsourced direct mail services and some other things. I found out that in our DMS, we could do those in-house. I was able to cut that $8,000 expense, hire 2 CRM administrators, and the work that they replaced on the outsourcing takes them each of them, maybe 8 hours a week. So, now I've got 2 full-time assistants that are paid for with an additional 30, 35 hours a week to do things like preparing reports, reconciling lead statements, to get credits for invalid and duplicate leads, that sort of thing, tracking the showroom traffic, doing so many things that if I had to do them myself, I'd have no time to, focus on people development, which has been, the technology stuff is fun. The people development has been really the essence of the work or the bulk of my time since I've been there.